Hi, Jinx.
Hello, Tex.
Well, Jinx, front pages this morning are topped by a shocking, grim headline about the death of the former ambassador to England, John G. Wyman. You read the story, or you listen to the story on the radio this morning, and you wonder why. A man who has contributed so much to the happiness and welfare of this country and to all countries through his activities with the ILO, why a man should take his own life. It's apparent from reading the stories that he thought long and hard before he did it. There were 2 pistols in the room. One was unloaded. Apparently he took it up, tried to commit suicide with that pistol, threw it against the wall in anger or desperation when he could find no bullets for it, and then finally committed suicide with another pistol. Anybody who knew him can't possibly help but wonder why he did it. He had either just completed his memoirs or he was nearing completion of his memoirs. You wonder if there was something in reflection on his contribution to the welfare of the world, whether he realized some shortcomings, whether that brought on grief and this mood of desperation. Those of us who knew him in England during the war, we saw him at the time when his son came to England to fly with the 8th Air Force over Germany. We knew the tremendous pressure on him then because at that time everybody felt that if the Germans captured a man who was close to someone in high place, they would torture him in order to get information from him. And then I saw him immediately after he was informed that his son had been shot down over Germany. No one knew whether his son was a prisoner or had been killed for a long, long time. He bore up tremendously under that great grief. Mrs. Wyman did too. And so the mystery remains. Why does a man, a brilliant man, an able man, take his life? Is it because he knows something dreadful about the future, that's something ahead of all of us, or that he found something in the past that made him feel this mood of despair?
But Tex, his son was found, wasn't he? He was all right.
His son was all right. His son was perfectly all right and was never tortured, was treated with the special prisoners, was put in a special prison camp. Another story on the front page this morning, Jenks, the Herald Tribune, every paper front pages, the fact that today is election day, but the Herald Tribune lays special emphasis on it, prints a box on the front page of instructions not how to vote, but where to vote and when to vote. It's interesting that the front page headline on the Tribune predicts that proportional representation will be killed, although its editorial page makes one last plea to vote against the amendment which would kill proportional representation, PR as it's generally known. I think the most interesting thing in any paper this morning is not on the front page, but on the first page, second section of the Herald Tribune. Walter Lippmann's column. He's come back from Europe. Europe Revisited is the title of it, of the column today, and it starts off like this. My strongest impression after a tour in Eastern and in Western Europe and in Germany is that the Russians have lost the Cold War, and that they know it. We, on the other hand, do not know this and are afraid to believe it. We have mistaken the violence of Mr. Vyshinsky's language for Russian power and are therefore unprepared to use constructively the opportunity for a European settlement which is closer at hand than we think it is. That is even more interesting than the columns Mr. Lippmann wrote on the Cold War. His column today, Europe Revisited, in which he says the Russians have lost the Cold War and they know it. But now, Jinx, we have a special guest here this morning, an old friend of mine who sits in the same office I used to work in on the Daily Mirror. Richard Kenny, the aviation editor of the Daily Mirror.
We have another guest also, Tex, Walt Disney, don't forget
Walt
that.
Disney, coming on in the second half of the program. But Richard Kenny is going to tell us the story behind the story that made headlines on every front page yesterday morning. Richard, you were out in California when Howard Hughes lifted his plane on the third taxi run into flight, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
How did you happen to be out there?
Well, I'd been out there on vacation for the past few weeks. Got back yesterday.
Just yesterday morning, and he said he's very tired, and it's only because his uncles have been on the program, and I suppose maybe they said it was not too hard. That's why Richard Kenny's here this morning.
Uncle Nick Kenny and Uncle Charlie Kenny. Well, now, Richard, you've got to do good this morning. You were out there, and how did you happen to find out about the flight, about the Hughes flight?
Well, there were some statements in the papers that he might fly it around November 5th, and I sort of smelled the story. Figured maybe I could sneak a quick look at it before I came back east.
So you had a busman's holiday.
Yeah.
And you went over and covered the story.
Out.
Well, now, can you tell us exactly what happened?
Oh, about the flight?
About the flight. I mean,
well,
did you suspect that he was going to really try to fly it that day?
No, we all hoped he might be foolish enough to try. We thought he'd be foolish if he tried it. $25 million invested in it. And
$7 million of his own money.
Yeah. A little more after this deal.
But this wasn't the first day, was it, Richard? It wasn't the first day?
No, it took him all of 7 hours to inch it out on site. He inched it out of its dock. And that was a tremendous operation. Hughes directed the whole thing from atop the plane by walkie-talkie. Remind me of a mahout, you know.
Mm-hmm. On top of
I don't mean the plane as a white elephant, but he got it out there, and then a strong wind blew up. He couldn't bring it back in, so he moored it out in the bay. Then the next morning, we all got out there very early, about 8 a.m.
Where were you? What were you on, Richard?
We were on PT boats, following him in the taxi runs.
About how many newspapermen were out there, would you say?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say newspapermen, but newsmen.
Mm-hmm.
Radio men and newsreel men and wire service men. There were about 200 all told, I suppose.
So it was a pretty well-covered story.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? The first, he tried a taxi run first, did he?
Yeah. He took her out and taxied her out on 2 engines. And, felt it out a little bit on 2 engines, and then kept starting them up 2 more at a time until he had all 8 going.
Mm-hmm. Make a lot of noise when he had 8 engines going?
No, not too much noise. There was a B-25 flying around up above, and that was making more noise than anything.
More noise than all 8 of his Hughes plane, yeah.
Well, they're quite noisy. So then he made 2 runs, and he got her up in a step, and she looked like she'd go off.
You better explain that, up on a step.
Well, the step is sort of like a hydroplane. You get up on the... It's hard to explain over the air.
Well, what is it, on a pontoon, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Was that right?
The hull has a notch in it, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Well,
go on, you 2 men talk about it.
The point is that it was just about to take off, and he decided to go on and take it off, did he?
Not then. He stopped and said the tests were over for the day and got the newsmen off the ship. He had a representative of each wire service and newsreel men aboard the plane on the taxi tests. I was in a PT boat running alongside. When he got them off, he put them in a boat, and then he decided to try it one more time, we thought. We sat by and watched him, and he came roaring down. They had their flaps on, and sure enough, she leaped off very smoothly. And he kept her up maybe 30 to 50 feet for about a half mile or so, and then he dropped her back in.
You mean 30
Straight
or 50
ahead.
feet off the water?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dropped her back in, and then everybody went wild out there.
Even the newspapermen cheered a little bit, did they?
Yeah, they sure did. They liked him very
Could
much.
you see the plane? Were you near enough to the plane to see it off the water?
No, I wasn't near enough to really actually see it off the water. There was a breakwater in between me. We were on our way back when he let the newsmen off. We figured that was the end of the tests.
And everybody thought that, maybe.
In fact, I came back in and wrote my story before I was sure he had taken it off, and I had to send a new lead in, which got to my paper before my original story did, and they got quite mixed up on it over at the Mirror.
But you say the newsmen, how did the newsmen feel about Howard Hughes? I mean, he's been through a couple of tough investigations, one crack up, and he's going into the second round of his investigation. How do you think all these newsmen felt out there? Do you feel that they thought that they were being used to make a headline at a critical period in his career, or what?
There were some who felt that way, but others who know the man and like him very much, think he's great. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wonderful that a man in his position can get out and fly every ship he builds himself. He's not afraid to try out something he's built. You
didn't have a feeling, though, that he had that the public relations firm that is handling him and doing a very fine job of it had picked Sunday in order to break a Monday headline, and that this thing, you used the word foolish there at the beginning. Did you feel that he was foolish to try to to fly it so soon after its first taxi run or its second taxi run?
I thought he would be in the beginning, before he had done it, and then when I questioned him after he came in, and the way he explained it to me, I thought that it was true that it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. He said it felt so buoyant and so good that he just wanted to ease it off a little bit just to, put a bug in Brewster's ear was the term he used, I think.
Well, he sure put a bug in Mr. Brewster's ear, Senator Brewster's ear. Mr. Brewster has been trying to get it out ever since. Richard, are you going down and cover these hearings in Washington?
No, that's news report. I have to cover local flying around New York and do a little flying myself. I've missed it.
Well, I hope that Jack Late and Charles McCabe will send you down to Washington, because I think that these hearings should be covered by an aviation writer instead of a political writer, and that's the way they've been covered in the past.
But Howard Hughes himself said that the investigations had switched and they weren't about the plane now, were they? They'd changed their course.
He said he didn't think Brewster was actually interested in whether the plane flew or not.
But you saw the plane, or you really didn't see it fly, but you heard first-hand reports that it did go off the water, and you think it will fly next April?
Yeah, I think it'd fly tomorrow if he got out there. She looks like a beautiful ship.
Right. Really fly, though?
Yeah.
And you think that it'll contribute much to aviation, this 8-engine plane?
Well, not the 8-engine part of it, but the 700 troops part of it can contribute a lot if this Cold War isn't over.
Even though she doesn't fly more than 175 miles an hour, you think that...
Well, say for cargo use, she'd be good.
Well, Richard, I really hope you do go down and cover that investigation, because one thing that might get it back on the track is to have aviation writers instead of movie critics, columnists, newsreel cameramen, and political writers covering the investigation. Thank you very much for your first-hand report, and I tell Uncle Nick and Uncle Charlie, if they aren't awake yet, that you were very calm, cool, and collected on your first trip on the air.
That's Richard Kenny, Tex, Richard Kenny, and Uncle Nick is Uncle Nick Kenny, just for those who don't know him as just Uncle Nick. Okay.
Well, now, Jenks, a little music to cue in our green light department this morning. Good news. Well, Jenks, 2 plays opened last night, and I'm afraid neither one of them got a green light from the critics this morning.
No, I'm afraid we cannot give a green light to either of the plays that opened last night. This Time Tomorrow or, Trial Honeymoon. I pushed the papers aside. But I do think that we can give a sort of preview, a green light, for Edith Piaf, the famous French chanteuse who's singing at the Playhouse. Is that the way you pronounce it?
I think so. I grinned, but I couldn't do any better. She
famous
sings,
French
anyhow.
Singer, yes. And I understand from several people who've been trying to get tickets that she's sold out for the coming 4 weeks that she's going to be there. We'll be seeing it Thursday night, and then we'll be able to give a first-hand green light, I know.
On Friday morning. But now, Jenks, I think we have a very special green light for Orbach's this morning.
Yes, for those cameo Gibson girl blouses in a mother and daughter combination.
Too bad they don't make them in mother and son combination. But anyway, you mean that mothers and daughters can both wear matching blouses?
Yes, and the particular blouse that I'm talking about is a lovely striped chambray in rose, maize, or lime stripes on gray. And it has full puffed Gibson sleeves. I can't talk this morning. I'm going to start all over again. It has full puffed Gibson sleeves, and around its high neck is a detachable grosgrain ribbon with an adorable cameo. And I think if you just look a little bit to the right, Tex, you'll see me wearing one of the blouses, but in plain white instead of the stripe. Do you like it?
I love it.
Do you?
Try some with stripes.
All right, and I wish, as you say, that I had a little girl so that she could wear the daughter combination, but since I
No
haven't...
propaganda.
All right.
Ask Ruth McCabe. Anyway, these can be found on the main floor of either store in sizes 32 to 38 for mothers.
And for the daughters, you'll find sizes 7 to 14 and 10 to 16 on the 4th floor in the New York store and in the downstairs store in Newark.
In Newark, New Jersey. Now, Jenks, about our next guest. Our next guest is Walt Disney, the film father of a certain little animal famous all over the world. In Soviet Russia, he's known as Mickey Mouse. And in Spain, I hope my accent's all right.
In Spain, they call him Miguel Ratoncito. Brazilians know him as Comandongo Mickey. And in Argentina, he's El Raton Mickey.
And the French have given him the name of Michel Souris. And in Japan, it's Mickey Cucci. But here at home, we all know Walt Disney's most famous cartoon character just as Mickey Mouse.
Well, Tex, you know Walt Disney was only 10 years old when he did his first commercial artwork. He used to get a free haircut every week in his hometown of Mussolini, Missouri, and for sketches that he drew and gave to the barber to display on the walls of his shop. And then at 16, he was in Chicago taking a night course in cartooning at the Academy of Fine Arts.
But about this time, the First World War broke out, and Walt was too young to join the Army, but he managed to get overseas as an ambulance driver for the Red Cross. And then after the war, he began making his first animated cartoons in Kansas City, and he called them laughograms.
Well, people must not have laughed very much because the company failed, and Walt packed up and went to Hollywood to try his luck. And that's when Mickey Mouse was born, exactly 20 years ago. In fact, they just celebrated the 20th anniversary last week. And then, of course, Walt Disney was on his way to fame. You
know, Jinx, there's a lot of stories about the origin of Mickey. One says that the original was a little fellow who lived in a wastebasket where Walt worked in Kansas City. When the mouse got so tame, he used to run across the top of his drawing board, and Walt made friends with him and named him Mickey. Well, I don't know about that story, Tex, but Mickey was just the beginning. That I do know. Then came Donald Duck, the Three Little Pigs, Goofy and Pluto, and the Big Bad Wolf, and oh, so many others. You know, Walt Disney's cartoons have won over a dozen Academy Awards in the short subjects division. And Walt doesn't draw much of the cartoons anymore, but he still supervises every detail of their productions. And that means working round the clock in busy times. I wonder how many people know, though, that Walt is the voice of Mickey Mouse. I didn't know that until just the other day. Well, you'll find out again in a minute, but now let's switch to transcription, Jinx, and listen to your interview with Walt Disney, Mickey Mouse's boss. Hello, Walt.
Hello. Hello, Jinx.
Hi, Walt. Now, let me see, what was that character?
Well, that was just a sort of a slip into a mouse.
Oh, that was a slip into a mouse. What's the last word that I've heard about the mouse, that you've built a better mouse? Can you help me out on that?
Oh, that's the old better mousetrap gag, yeah.
Well, what is it?
Well, they beat a path to your door.
And you've built a better mouse?
Well.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah. And how? Walt, I wonder if you wouldn't help me with a little build-up for you, for your pictures. I want to just sort of go back over the past and find out what the first big picture that you made. I don't mean all the Mickey Mouses and Donald Ducks, but what was your first full-length feature?
Oh, Snow White.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
That's when you were just a little girl.
About 7 years ago, wasn't it?
Oh, it's almost 10.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
That was a wonderful picture. That was the first full-length feature.
Yeah.
Who were some of the singers behind the scenes in that?
Oh, we had a little girl by the name of Castellotti from the opera family.
Mm-hmm. You had really an opera singer in the picture.
Well, her father was an opera coach, and her sister was a famous Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a Los Angeles girl.
And then what came next? Did Fantasia come next?
Oh, gosh. What? Yes.
We have to go back 10 years now and pick up the remains.
No, Pinocchio.
Pinocchio. And then Fantasia.
I think so. Fantasia, and then Dumbo, and Bambi, and...
Oh, Bambi was a beautiful picture.
Well, we're bringing Bambi out this year again. It's going to come out and run all over again.
It'll be reissued.
Well, we just we'll give it a new start.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, I think that you must have had great reaction from parents all over the world on that picture, didn't you, Walt?
Oh, yes. It's considered now one of the best.
And what about children? Did you get any special letters from children, any reaction from them?
Well, no, but I did from hunters.
Did you? What did they say?
Oh, they said that they couldn't face their children when they come home with the deer over the front of the car, because they're going out and shot the deers.
And they thought it was Bambi.
That's right. They couldn't. Well, I had all the hunting magazines down on me on account of that picture.
Oh, dear. Well, what happened after Bambi? What was the next on your line of hit parades?
Oh, gee, the war came along then. I think I did the South American picture, the one, Saludos Amigos,
Oh, yes.
Brazil and Tico Tico in it. And then later on I did another one, Three Caballeros, featuring Mexico and the music from Mexico.
I certainly remember that one because you have a soft spot in your heart for Mexico, just as I have. We met down there, I believe.
Yeah, I remember it.
You were on an official tour then. Hadn't the government asked you down, hoping that you'd be inspired by their music and by their surroundings so that you would make a picture?
Well, something like that. But I remember we were at the opera with the Mr. Aleman, who is now president. You remember that?
Then he was Secretary of the Interior.
That's right. And the opera was long, and we were hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of sneaked out when no one was looking and went over and all had a nice beefsteak.
Yes.
The rest of the people suffered through the opera.
I remember that very well. I also remember that night so many people were confused because they felt that the president of Mexico and you, Walt Disney, looked very much alike. Now, how do you feel about that? Do you think you do?
Well, I have a mustache and he has one. I have brown eyes and his eyes are brown. And I think in the profile we do, we had our pictures taken together that way, in a profile to show the... But I think he has a little more of a prominent forehead than I do.
Yeah, I think so, too. But you did have a picture taken in profile together.
Oh, yes, several.
Yeah, did you have it autographed, and do you have it in your office in Hollywood?
No, I haven't, but I think I should.
I think you should. Now that he's president, you certainly should. Well, you were inspired by the music of Latin America, you said, and particularly Mexico and Brazil.
Well, their music, I think, is the most distinctive of all the Latin music.
You had a very big hit song in one of your pictures called You Belong to My Heart, which had a Latin American origin, didn't it?
Well, it was a Latin tune, and we gave it English lyrics.
What was it in Spanish, do you remember?
Solamente una vez.
Solamente una vez. How did it go?
I'll cut it out.
All right, I'll cut it out.
Solamente una vez. Amigo. Is that it?
I think that's it. That's good enough. Well, that's very good. ¿Y tu español cómo está?
What did you say? Come again.
I just said, how is your Spanish?
That's as far as I go.
That's as far as you go. Well, now let me see. We stopped in South America with Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros. What came next?
Oh, gee, you got me. I think, wasn't it Song of the South, or do you remember? I don't know.
I think it was Song of the South.
Oh, we did a lot of war films. You know?
Yes, I remember. Didn't you do the picture with Major Alexander Seversky?
Oh, yes,
That was very good. And that was the first time I'd seen color, and, I mean, you had live and animation at the same time, didn't you?
Well, I had Seversky in there.
You had Seversky, too, yeah. But Song of the South was a big hit, and there were a couple of very good hit songs in that one. What were they?
Well, I think the two biggest were Zippy-da-doo-dah and,
Uncle Remus Said.
Uncle Remus Said, and Sooner or Later.
I remember that. And Now Fun and Fancy Free. Now Fun and Fancy Free, isn't it?
Is that my cue?
No. Oh, I love the song, but I wanted to talk about the picture a little bit and find out what you plan to do next, Walt.
Well, we got a lot of things. I got one coming out next year called Melody Time, and then one following that called So Dear to My Heart, which is a nostalgic thing about early America, about 1900. And, I can't think.
Well, Melody Time sounds very good. What's the background of that? Are you going to have famous singers, really big names behind the scenes singing?
Yes, it's a musical story and music and things, and I have Dennis Day telling the story of telling and singing the story of Johnny Appleseed, and Roy Rogers and the Pioneers sing and tell the story of the fabulous cowboy Pecos Bill. Mm-hmm. And then Fred Waring does a beautiful number, Freddie Martin does Bumble Boogie, and Ethel Smith does another Brazilian number for us. And let's see who else. Francis Langford and,
Oh, that sounds awfully good, and the name of that is Melody Time.
Melody Time.
We're going to remember that. And then, of course, you say you're working on some others, too. I'd like to find out something, and I'm sure that everyone listening would be interested, Walt Disney, in finding out how you do the sound, how you do all the sound in your movies, whether it's done after the film is put together or before. Can you tell us sort of behind-the-scenes story of that?
You mean the voice?
Yes.
Well, we do the voice first.
You mean Donald Duck talks first?
He talks first. And then we dissect the soundtrack, you see. And then we draw to fit the sound, you see.
Wait a minute. You dissect the soundtrack. Do you mean that you take out just one sound and draw a picture to fit that?
No, what we do, we analyze it, you see, and draw a graph, you see. And then from the graph, we animate. It's simple.
It is? Well, now tell me how many times you have to animate for just for one sentence, say. How many pictures, roughly, do you have to have?
Well,
to go
it
with
depends
that
on the sentence, you know.
Oh, I see. All right. Now, I'll give you a sentence. I'm going to go home and see Mrs. Duck.
I'm not good at mathematics here, but I should imagine that would take about 80 drawings.
About 80. And that I still don't understand
Nobody
how
would
it's put
check
in.
up on that.
No. Well, we might have someone checking. I'll let you know if you're wrong. But let me see. I still don't understand how it gets in sync, then, how the sound is in sync with the drawings.
Well, we draw to fit the sound.
Mm-hmm. I understand. No, I'll take your word for it. All right, well, Walt, tell me...
It works anyway.
It certainly does work, and it comes out even, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Walt, tell me, what are you doing in New York? Are you getting some background on the next pictures coming up on Melody Time?
No, really. I came back for a big shindig the Banshees put on here, the 20th anniversary Mickey Mouse.
Oh, gosh, and what happened?
Oh,
at
they
the
had
anniversary?
a big shindig over there, and they had a statue that they gave to Mickey Mouse and everything. A beautiful book with letters from the 48 governors, and, oh, gosh. I hadn't seen the book myself. I mean, the newspaper guys took it right away from me, and I haven't got it back.
And you haven't seen it. Well, Mickey Mouse must feel very close to you, doesn't he?
Yes.
I mean, you feel that he's almost a person. I always feel
that... He's the mouse that made me the man that I am.
He's the mouse that made you the man that you are. I think we should close with that, and I wish you'd just repeat that once more. Tex always says if he hears something he likes that's very good, he wants to hear it again.
He's the mouse that made me the man that I am.
Well, thank you very much.
Yam on there.
That you yam. Thank you, Walt Disney, very much, and we'll be looking forward to Melody Time and all the pictures that you have lined up for the next few years.
Well, thanks, Jinx. It's been nice seeing you.
Well, it's been a lot of fun for me hearing you two hard at work while I sat in the control room and listened, but now it's time for our next guest, Jinx, a career girl, a New York career girl, a girl who's learned that all wise women find their way to Orbach's, and her name, Rose Pitchinson.
Well, Rose Pitchinson, we usually like to get our bearings with the guests, so I'll ask you first if you're a native New Yorker. Are you?
Not of Manhattan.
Not of Manhattan? Where are you?
Spring Valley, New York.
Oh, that's where Paulette Goddard and Burgess Meredith have a farm.
That's right.
Have you been by their farm?
Just by it.
Don't people in Spring Valley talk about the neighbors up there?
They talk about them, but they don't visit.
Oh, I see.
Well, now, I understand you've been a customer of Orbach's for 3 long years, which means you must have been living here in Manhattan for a long time, haven't you?
I've been here 5 years.
You've been here 5 years. It took you 2 years to find out about Orbach's? Well, shame on you.
But you still go up to the country for weekends. You go away to Spring Valley, don't you?
That's right.
That's my contention with Tex always, to get away sort of back to the soil as often as possible.
Well, now, we understand that you've got a very interesting hobby that really takes you away for weekends, and that's skiing. How in the dickens do you find time to go skiing, and where do you go skiing, living and working in New York as you do, Rose?
Just because they manage these wonderful weekend ski trains.
Well, now, how do they work? When do you get on, and where do you get on, and where do you go?
Get on at Grand Central Friday night at 7, back in New York Sunday night at 11.
Aren't you exhausted when you get back?
Right.
You are, but you still go.
That's right.
When do the ski trains start?
Usually around Christmas, depending upon the snow weather.
Mm-hmm. And we have something here that we shouldn't officially mention yet, but Orbach's is going to have a great selection of ski clothes very soon. So we hope that you'll keep listening to the program, Rose, so that you can know when to go down and get these new ski things that they'll have on the line very soon. And from what you said about the things you've bought there, you might be able to buy a few more extra ski outfits. Do you think so?
I will, and extra weekends because of the prices.
That's what you found about shopping at Orbach's.
Love it.
Yeah. You said that you got a very handsome suit there?
A beautiful suit and a beautiful dress at wonderful prices.
What was the suit like? Can you describe it?
The new ballerina length and the new style jacket.
And you're quite tall, aren't you?
I am.
Are you taller than I? Am tall?
We haven't been next to each other.
But that's a very important item, to find the right length and, as you say, the right prices. So I hope you will keep listening for the new ski clothes that will be shown at Orbach's, and then you might be able to get that extra weekend that you want.
Thank you very much, Rose.
Thank you.
And thank you, Rose, for me also. And we'd like to remind you, of course you know, and all our listeners, the address of Orbach's, 14th Street and Union Square, right here in New York City. Just take the nearest bus or subway and you'll be there. And in New Jersey, in Newark, New Jersey, it's at Market and Halsey Streets. We wanted to remind you of Orbach's address. And now a reminder about tomorrow's program, Tex. You should be very excited about what we have on.
Well, I don't know why I should be particularly excited. Everybody should, because it's the First Lady of Hollywood.
Yes, Greer Garson, who's a famous, famous lady. She's played so many famous women in movies, among them Mrs. Miniver, for which she won the Academy Award, Madame Curie, Mrs. Parkington, and Random Harvest.
This program, in part transcribed, has come to you from the WNBC studios in Radio City.
You're listening to Same Time, Same Station, the best of old-time radio.